What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about IT certificate. Are they worth it? Do they teach you anything? Like, what should be your approach to IT certificate? What is my approach to IT certificate? And a lot more. So let's roll the intro clip. When we come back, we're going to talk all about it. Oh, don't forget to stay hydrated. You need it, because this is going to be an interesting conversation. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. So I've tried to break this video into several parts, so make sure you check out the menu below and kind of jump to the part that interests you, so you don't have to watch the whole video if you don't want to. Okay guys, so the first question, or the first part of this video is, IT certificate really worth it, or what are they good for? The whole idea of what an IT certificate is worth to you is very subjective, so just keep that in mind. Right, some people might agree with it and some people might not, but for me, this is how I look at IT certificates. My take on IT certificate is that IT certificates are meant to introduce you to a specific topic or a specific environment. Having an IT certificate doesn't necessarily make you an expert in that topic. This is very, very important, because I've seen a lot of people get all pride and boastful when they pass an IT certificate, and they think that they run the world now because they have a specific certificate, and people with a lot more certificate think that they're smarter than everybody else. That's not the way IT works. You can get all the certificate that you want, and I'm saying this from someone that has several certificates. You can get all the certificates that you want, and I know that studying for certificate is hard, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of effort, and that's why people are so prideful of getting their certificate, and they're so proud of their certificate, and they don't want someone to take that away from them, because to them is that I put a blood, sweat, and tears in the certificates to be able to get it. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes you fail it, and then you have to restudy for it to take it again. It's a lot of time and effort going into it. But I think when you approach it in the manner of, I'm getting introduced to a topic every time I take a certificate, but it doesn't mean that I'm an expert, it's a great way to start looking at it. For me, when you ask the question, IT certificate worth it? I said yes, but only from the perspective of, like, they introduce you to a topic, right? And that's the only point of view that I have of IT certificate. And that's how I look at it. They introduce me to a topic. Now it's up to me to build labs and do the things that I need to do to get better at that topic, right? So IT certificate worth it? Yes, because they introduce you to a topic. Does it make you an expert in that topic? No. That's my take on it. Okay, so question number 2. Do IT certificate reflect what you do at work? Oh man, man, this is a good one. And my answer to that is yes and no, but I'm leaning more towards no than yes. I don't know if that makes sense. Again, this goes back to my first point where I said that you are introduced to the topic. So technically, if you are someone that doesn't know anything about Azure, and then your job entails you working in Azure, getting an Azure certificate would introduce you to Azure, right? So you know your way around, you know how to do things, you know how to do the things that you need to do. And that is the core benefit of a certificate, like I said earlier. But no, because again, there's always a solution in the IT certificate that you take. When you're studying for IT certificate, there's always a solution. When in the real world, there's not always a solution. The things that you do in real life are so much more complex. Like, they're so hard. IT in general, whatever part of IT you choose to go into, whether you want to become a developer, whether you want to become an engineer, whether you become a DevOps engineer, whatever it is that you want to do, it's going to challenge you. It's going to challenge you beyond what you think you're capable of. It's going to push you. It's going to be early morning, late nights. It's going to challenge you. And the solution is not always laid out in a red carpet where you just walk up to it, right? So that's why, for me, when that question is asked, I lean more towards no than yes, because a lot of times I've taken certificates and I go through the material for the certificates. I'm like, this doesn't reflect what I do at my work at all. It doesn't. Yeah, it helps me kind of navigate around. Again, that's why I go back to my previous answer where I said, yes, certificate are good to introduce you to a topic. It helps me not get lost if someone put me in a Linux environment. It helps me not get lost if someone put me in an Azure environment. But it doesn't mean that I know so much more than everybody else just because I have a certificate. There's always an answer in the book. but is sometimes never an answer in real life, and you just have to struggle through it and then face things that you don't even think were possible. You didn't even think were possible. So my answer to that is I'm gonna stick with no. So number 3, certificates and pay. Oh my word, this is an interesting one. This is why sometimes a lot of people don't value certificate anymore, because there's a misconception of like, if you get a specific certificate, you're going to start making a lot of money. What people don't tell you, what they don't tell you in that video, is number one, they're trying to sell you something. Because at the end of the day, when they say go and then check out the stuff below and then click on it, they make a referral fee off of it. That's number one. Number two, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right? If you're leading people and you're pushing them to the right material, absolutely. But it's when you tell people that, hey, this is going to be an easy thing to do, right? Only if you can get this one certificate in your life will be so much more better. It's not. There's so many factors that go into it, because what they don't tell you, the second thing that they don't tell you is that IT is hard. Like I've mentioned before, it is extremely challenging. Like it's going to challenge you in so many ways that you just sometimes just get frustrated and want to walk away. You have to have the mental toughness to say, like, I'm going to face it, I'm going to fail at it, and I'm going to get better at it. Because a lot of people come into the fail and they think like, hey, I'm going to get this certificate and I'm going to be making this amount of money, right? But then once they get the certificate, because there's people that are leading you towards these certificates, what they don't tell you is that the job is hard, and you get into the job and then you realize that, oh snap, this stuff is super complicated. It is hard. You have to spend hours to try to understand some concept, and you're always working with people that you feel like they're 10 step or 10 level ahead of you, and you're always consistently you're always going to try to evolve, because IT is a moving target. You're always going to try to evolve, to try to learn the next best thing. So that's what the problem is, and I think that's what the biggest contributor is to why the value of IT certificate is starting to go down more, because there's a lot of people that are trying to paint this picture of get a certificate and get this amount of money, where it should be that, hey, make sure you work your way up slowly and understand that this is going to take you time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take dedication, and it's going to take a whole lot of head scratching and a whole bunch of labs. Yeah, my whole lab over there, a whole bunch of lab to actually grow in IT, because it's not an easy thing. So I think one of the biggest thing, and one of the thing, every time I look at a video, I just cringe, and I want to slap somebody, is that when people try to paint this picture as if like IT is, yes, don't get me wrong, IT is somewhat lucrative. You can make a good amount of living in it, like a good money in it, if you are willing to learn and grow. But just know that that should not be your only driver, because the challenge is going to be there, and if you're not willing to get challenged, you should not get in the field. Right? There's so many level of challenge that you're gonna have to face. Okay, so the next part we're gonna talk about is that being humble is very important, not just in IT but in everything in life, right? I think if you are someone that can pass certificates and go take certificate and pass them, it doesn't mean that you know everything there is to know about that topic. It doesn't mean that you're smarter than everybody else. I've worked with a lot of people, and I still work with a lot of people that don't have certificate. Why? Because they don't care for it, and two, because they don't have the time to go study for certificate. They're too busy working in real life stuff. So they don't have the energy all the time to want to go take certificate. Those are some of the smartest people that I've worked with. They know so much because they've spent so much time in that environment, that anything that you run into, they can tell you like, oh, that's what it is. I've seen it before. Keynote, I've seen it before. Because they've spent so much time in that specific environment that they've seen it all. And I think that's where it pays to be humble. Because if you're humble and you have some sort of humility, you know that even having several certificates doesn't mean that you're smarter than the person that doesn't have it. You have to be humble enough to say that I want to learn from somebody, whether or not they have a certificate, whether or not they're older than I am, whether or not they're younger than I am. If someone knows something that I don't know, I will shut up. I will sit down and I will learn from that person, and I'll be willing to grow, and I'll be willing to kind of say, hey, even if I know it, can you teach me a better way to do it? Because what I found in IT is that people are willing to teach you if you're willing to learn. People are willing to say, come, I can show you how to do it, if you're willing to shut up and then listen to them and let them talk, and don't try to be like, oh, I know this, oh, I know that. Nobody likes to know it all, especially if you don't know it all. So humility will go a long way, and I think that's how I want to end this topic, because I can go on and on about this all day, but that's how I want to end this. Be humble. Hey guys, so that's it for today. I hope this video is somewhat helpful to someone. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see some more. Leave a comment down below if you have any question. I will see you guys next week when we put out another video. So as always, do not forget to stay geeking and stay humble, and of course, don't forget to stay hydrated. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.